Greensboro sit-ins taking a stand. There are many important names to remember when it comes to the civil rights movement. Rosa Parks, Julian Bond, James Farmer, John Lewis, Martin Luther King Jr. However, the struggle against discrimination and for racial equality attracted many people. Some ended up getting overlooked. Take the 4 black college students in this article. Their historic acts set the stage for student activism for decades to come and breathed new life into the movement. It also turned ordinary people into extraordinary heroes. On February 1st, 1960, Joseph McNeil, David Richmond, Franklin McCain, and Azel A. Blair Jr. sat down at Woolworth's lunch counter and ordered food. They had finished classes for the day at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical College, A&T, and had come to Woolworth's to buy a few items in the variety store and then get something to eat. As expected, the waitress did not serve them. In Greensboro, North Carolina, as many areas of the South, Black people can make purchases at stores such as Woolworth's, but they could not sit down to eat lunch at the counter. The store was segregated, meaning Black people were forced to use separate spaces from white people. The 4 young men knew the rule, but had decided to take direct action against injustice. They returned the next day and politely refused to leave their seats until they were served at the lunch counter. A mass student movement was sparked. This was not the first such sit-in. In 1943, the Congress of Racial Equality, CORE, had staged a sit-in at Jack Sprat Restaurant in Chicago, Illinois. In 1944, the Howard University chapter of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, had staged a successful sit-in at Washington, D.C. restaurant. In 1960, sit-in at Woolworth's, however, was important because it led to 3 significant results. First, it sparked a mass student movement. Within hours, news of the Greensboro sit-in has spread. In less than 2 weeks, college students all over the South started their own sit-ins. Within 18 months, nearly 70,000 students have participated in similar protests. When television cameras showed well-dressed, polite young men and women pulled off stools, spat on, kicked, burned with cigarettes, and called ugly names, the outpouring of support from both Black and white Americans was overwhelming. The Woolworth sit-in also led to support for the student movement from established civil rights organizations, such as CORE, the NAACP, and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC. When the Greensboro 4, who were all members of the local NAACP Youth Council, asked for help, their NAACP leader called CORE's New York office. Almost immediately, CORE sent a representative to Greensboro to provide training for the students. CORE field workers offered guidance throughout the sit-in movement. These sessions included role-playing based on these simple rules of conduct. Do not show yourself friendly at all times. Do sit straight and face the counter. Don't strike back if attacked. Don't laugh out loud. Don't hold conversations. The NAACP's Legal Defense and Educational Fund provide legal assistance and bail money for hundreds of students arrested. The protesters have been indicted for trespassing, disturbing the peace, and unlawful assembly. Some students refused to pay fines and served jail sentences. Students spent their time in jail discussing politics and organizing. They also prayed, sang old hymns and labor union songs, read and rewrote popular songs to include new lyrics about freedom, justice, and equal rights. Sit-ins succeeded in desegregating lunch counters. The SCLC and its president, Martin Luther King Jr., provided support for the sit-in movement under the direction of Ella Baker. Baker arranged for a donation of $800 and secured Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina, as the site for the first sit-in leadership conference on April 15, 1960. Representatives from 40 Southern colleges and 19 Northern campuses attended. They listened to King discuss nonviolence as a method of desegregating lunch counters and changing the hearts of segregationists. Baker also urged the sit-in leaders to form their own independent organization. They should think not only about defeating segregation, but also about gaining economic rights for the poor, she said. As a result, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, pronounced SNCC, a student-led and student-centered organization, was born. The third important effect of the Woolworth sit-in was the desegregation of lunch counters. The change swept through almost 100 cities by the fall of 1960 and the spread of sit-ins to other public places. Sit-ins desegregated movie theaters, amusement parks, and hotels. Wait-ins desegregated pools and beaches. Read-ins desegregated libraries. The sit-in movement did not guarantee all basic rights for Black Americans. Still, these 4 young college students took the first brave step. Their historic acts clearly proved how much can be accomplished by people when they work and struggle together to make life better for themselves and future generations.